before her lips touched, she jumped up, ran to her closet and grabbed a stethoscope, came back, put the little earpieces in my ears, slipped the knob down her shirt onto her heart and whispered, "I want you to listen to my heart speed up when you kiss me." And I kissed her, and I listened as her heart beat faster and faster and faster. It was one of the sweetest moments of my life, but we didn't make it. We didn't even try. I gave her an apple when I left. She kept the seeds and has called me Johnny ever since. My therapist, who I never go 5 minutes without quoting, has a theory about love. She says often we are believing a lie when we think it's time that helps us see each other more clearly. Says to consider the beginning might actually be when our hearts have perfect vision. Remember when you saw her lipstick on a coffee cup and felt like you had never known a bruise? Remember when her laughter was a disco ball and everything around her sparkled, especially you? Remember when you could find no flaws, just quirks you would have worn on a charm bracelet, how you told her you were terrified of loud noises and she snuffed the balloons out of every birthday party you went to. You adored that she ate donuts for every breakfast, called naps snoozers, built her countertops from old checkerboards. You found 64 lucky pennies in the 5 months after you met, wrapped them for her birthday in fabric you cut from the sleeve of your only warm jacket, learned to play the ukulele just so you could write her songs, tattooed her halos on your arms, and left a space for all you'd both do wrong. You sneezed poetry, you said to her. You could win the Nobel Prize just from getting the flu, you said to her. What if what you saw then was the truth, my therapist asked? Your holiest self, seeing somebody else's holiest self. What if what came after was the lie? What if the disco ball never stopped sparkling? Something just closed your eyes. The past, maybe. The terror you carry inside, maybe. That idea of being not enough or too much that teaches us to do everything we can to ensure we'll be hurt more than we'll be loved. It was morning. We were in our kitchen in New Orleans when she told me where her lips had been the night before. I ran into our bedroom, picked up 64 pennies, and threw them out the door. She dove onto the ground, counting the pennies one by one into her hands, saying my name over and over, both of our lips buried in tears. When we officially broke up, I was so certain I had nothing left to lose. I went to an open mic and read a poem for the first time, a love poem I wrote for her before we said goodbye. I was so nervous, my voice couldn't be heard over the paper rattling in my hands, but I knew wherever she was in the world that night, that poem found her ears. That was 25 years ago. 25 years I've been writing love poems. This morning I was at her house holding her son, who calls me Ankle because it's a mix between aunt and uncle. And I was thinking how the straight folks in my life sometimes struggle to understand why so many of my exes are my closest friends, but how my therapist says it is one of the most beautiful parts of the queer community, how we've all lost so much family. When we find people we call family, we'll do almost anything to not say goodbye. And because I didn't say goodbye, she was there. When I met the woman with the stethoscope, and the woman whose halos I tattooed, and the woman who rescued me from the balloons, and the woman who ate ice cream with her hands, and I didn't call it a flaw, I called it a quirk, and my God, I know it makes it sound like I got around, y'all, and let me say for the record, I wish I got around, but I didn't. I'm just old and I wrote it all down. Every little bit of it. The woman who came out to her family in the middle of Thanksgiving, Grace, Meg, whose eyes were the mirror where I finally learned to love my own face. And when people ask who's had my back these last 3 years, I say read the love poems I've been writing since I was 21 years old. Meg says love doesn't leave us, it just changes shape into friends, then into family. Family, look at what we planted in the cracks where our hearts first broke. Look at what we've grown. Look at what has bloomed. Look at all these lucky pennies come back to us tenfold. to be loved by you. I am so lucky to love you. I am so lucky to have the friends I have. I am so lucky for the friends who I haven't kissed. I love you too, but too bad for you. I am so lucky for this room of people. I am so lucky for my life. I am so lucky to be in love with my life. Meg and I, for these last 3 years, there is nothing that we have said more often than we are so lucky. We are so lucky for the love in our lives, and I mean it. Don't live like you have tomorrow. I pray you have tomorrow, but don't live like you do. Live like this is it, like this second is it. I thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful night. Love you all so much.